Hello everyone, welcome to another day in Shroud of the Avatar, and today we're continuing on our journey with skeggy media, and we're working of course in combat. Now we left our character with a combat bar like this, and I've actually trained up some skills and we'll need to get them to an equal place. We've got health up to 20, we've got focus up to 20, and then we've also, because we're using the blades, you'll need to have one of your bladed skills or your ranged up to 20, whichever weapon you're using, so you can learn the next tier down. And you'll need your dodge or your glancing blow up to 20, so you can purchase the next tiers down. So what we're going to do now is we're going to, because we need more abilities first of all, so what we're going to buy, first of all we need to talk to the trainer. So now we're talking to him. You can tell if it's what he can train because it's got sums of money. Now in light armour I'm going to buy this one, which are other skills, and that one was a passive skill, which, as we said before, will train whilst we are fighting. It will train on its own, where these ones are active skills. So we've got our light armour, and I'm using blades with this thingy. So if you go into your second tier, into your weapon, and then buy your second tier abilities and the passive that it actually has. So we've got those, and where were we going to go next? Now I've been working in the fire tree, but these at this level need to be 40, but I am going to buy the highly flammable ability now. And I'm just seeing if there's anything else we wanted. In the sun tree we are going to buy enlightenment to help our focus, and I think that's all we're going to buy in there at the moment, because we don't want to train too much, else your pool will go down, which I will talk about in just a second. Then we're going to train strength, and then we're going to train in subterfuge, dexterity, and then we're going to train in focus, intelligence. Now these last three are the important ones, because those actually go with these skills here: strength, dexterity and intelligence, which are the main three skills in fighting that are used in the game. So you need to train these up. So it explains what each of them are. Strength determines a character's maximum health, which is the big red bar. His carrying capacity, physical damage, resistance to immobilizing effects like stuns, and the chance to parry or block an attack. Dexterity determines a character's chance to dodge, chance to hit, and chance to land a critical blow with a physical attack. And intelligence is the same as dexterity, except it's with a magical attack. So if you're a mage, you need to make certain your intelligence is up, and your if you're a fighter or something like that, you'll need your dexterity up. And of course strength is going to increase health and carrying capacity on both types of characters. So that's what those do. And something else we're going to need to talk to the trainer about is advanced techniques. So he's going to teach us about free attack, and we just say yes. Now we've been using auto attack where it's constantly been attacking. Now by training free attack, it now means we can turn it off. At this point in your game I would recommend keeping free attack on, because it will benefit your character's ability. And the final thing is deck building, so we can build some more advanced combat decks. So we just say yes to that. Now I think we've got everything that we're going to need to then start looking at deck building. Let's just get into a nice area. Still not well lit, this place, but okay, we'll just put a bit of light up. Now, deck building. Now, basically in the game you get different types of decks that you can build. We've started off with our first deck, which is classed as a fixed deck. Now, because we've actually got the deck filled out a little bit more, we could work with this type of deck more, so we're actually going to put in a couple of these, then I'll show you what you can do with a fixed deck. And I'm just trying to see what we bought. That's our blades, that was it. And I'm going to move that to there, that over to there, that to there, put that one in there, and then we need one more ability. Oh, we got enlightenment, didn't we? There we go. So we've got a full deck now fixed. Now you can go out and fight with this deck. I'll make certain we're in an area where we're not going to cause any fuss accidentally killing somebody or fighting somebody. So now you see we have our deck, we can easily just fire away our abilities. But another thing you can do with it is, if you've got more than one card in your deck, you can actually hold it down and you see the little bar charging up, and it depends on how many cards you have in your deck as to how strong you can make the spell, because that makes that particular spell a little bit stronger. So we charge that one up, we've got 3 in that, and you can do combat like that with a fixed deck. And of course these are our attack abilities, and these are our buffs which help our character. Getting your buffs up here. Damage avoidance, dodge modifier, we've got some extra fire damage, enlightenment is increasing our intelligence, and so forth. So that's one type of combat, well that's a combat bar. Now to take it a step further, we need to work with a combat deck. Now if we hit our Y key, that will bring up the interface, and you can see you've got your first deck in there, which of course is the combat bar that we've been working in. Now what we can do is we're going to leave that one and we're going to create a new deck, and what we're going to do with this deck is we're going to start to use this area over here. So what we're going to do is we're going to see what skills we've got, and we're just going to place them over here. And we've only got one of each of those. Now you'll see a figure down here which is called a slug. Now basically, as you build a deck, you're required to have so many cards in your deck. So you need 13 glyphs or cards. They're also called tiles sometimes. And if you don't have that, you'll get a slug, which is an unusable tile or card. But it depends on how much you've trained an ability as to how many cards you get. So like these ones we've just trained, we've only got 2 of them. And if we go into some of our other abilities, let's see what we've got. Light armor, we've only got 1 of those. You can also do this by scrolling through this area Now in the fire we've got 3 of these, so 1, 2, 3, and then we've got flame solder, and just see what else we've got that we can use. Right, so we need 3 more slugs, and we can get that from the air tree, I think. 1, 2, and 3. And let's just see if there is anything else we can use. We didn't do anything in there. Got 2 sword ones across, got the fire ones. So now we've just created what's classed as a complete random deck. So I'm just going to put this one as, call it random. Now let's see how that deck actually works if we were to put it into combat. So we are going to equip the deck and go into combat. Now you'll notice that they are coming up absolutely totally at random, because if we actually fire one of these off, you'll see something else will appear in its place according to what we do. Now with this type of deck, what you can do is you can start to stack them, which makes them into a stronger ability. You can stack them as many as you've got tiles for. This was similar to the charging that we were doing before. So you can see that this deck, but it's a bit chaotic. So we'll go into the next type deck, which is mixing a random with a fixed deck. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a copy of that one, and then we're going to modify that, and we're going to call this one a fixed deck. And what we're going to do here is we're going to take one of those and plonk it down, and then we're going to unlock it, and we're going to do thrust, and ignite weapon, fire arrow, and evasion. And we do have another one we can put in there. And escape. And then we unlock it. Now, because we don't have enough glyphs to fill out these 3, it's still not going to be a problem. And that one's called fixed. I'm going to do done on that, and we are going to equip it. And we're going to see what this type of deck works like. So we're going to go into combat. Now basically we've actually fixed these, so this card will only appear here, and these cards will only appear in these slots. Anything can appear in these slots, and again we can use it for stacking, so we can make a better weapon. But we know that the only thing that's going to appear in this slot is always going to be this particular card, and the same with all of the other cards. And these ones are random, so you can see that you can start to build up some rather interesting combat decks. Now, some of the mistakes that people make with this type of fixed deck, so if we have a look at it again, I've made some modifications to it. I've actually added Healing Touch in, and I've filled out some extra tiles over here, so now this type of deck, if we look at it, hasn't got any random slots in it at all. So this one will always appear here. Each one of them will only appear in their particular slot. Now, what sometimes some people have mentioned, if we wait for that to cycle out, a mistake that some people have made in the deck is because we've got enough glyphs, we've actually got more than the 16 or the number we require. What they tend to do is think, oh, I'd like that one locked, and then they wonder why these have gone grey. That's because there's nowhere for those glyphs to actually appear. So they can't appear in a random slot because there isn't any, and of course that slot is now locked, so they can't appear there, and it is a confusing situation. And to fix it, all you need to do is unlock the tile. And if you want this one as a locked tile, because it could be handy if you always want to have your healing touch, you would just remove those and you would have your deck looking correct again. So those are some of the ways that you can build decks, and of course some of the common mistakes that can be made in a deck. And there is no wrong deck to use. You can actually use a fixed, a random or a mixed deck, or you can still stick with just doing your combat bar. So we started off with just the standard combat bar, and then we changed our combat bar to a totally random bar, and then we finally finished off our deck building. We're building a completely fixed deck, and then of course we've fixed that one in place, so it's a mixture of the two. What we'll do is I will clear that one and clear that one, just tidy this deck up a little bit. So now I'll just show this one as a final example. So these cards are always going to come up in their slots. These two are going to be random, so we can easily stack them, because we're going to have the thingy, and we can stack those two on that and that one all the way over there and make a 3 tile. And of course we can see our health is always there, and we can actually charge that one as a fixed deck. So I hope that you found this video helpful and informative, and of course you can follow me on Twitch and subscribe to me on YouTube, and that will help me grow the channels. You've got the information there for Shroud of the Avatar. Feel free to leave any comments in the comments section and I will get back to you, and thank you for watching.